Australia's Prime Minister Kevin Rudd struggling to avert a landslide election defeat in 6 days pledged tax breaks and education programs today to counter a slowing economy in a last-ditch plea to voters.
Rudd promising quote-unquote a new way in his main campaign launch in the battleground state of Queensland sought to capitalise on unease among voters about promised Conservative opposition spending cuts, warning that they would hurt jobs and confidence.
We are now engaged in the fight of our lives. It's a fight about the values which underpin Australia's future. A fight about our vision for Australia's future. It's a fight about how we go about building Australia's future. A future for the many, not just for the few.
With a week to voting day, a Galaxy poll in newspapers belonging to media magnate Rupert Murdoch today gave opposition leader Tony Abbott a 53 to 47% lead over Labour, enough to deliver a convincing parliamentary majority to the Conservatives after 6 years in the wilderness. Major weekend newspapers across the country also called for a switch in government, with Sydney's mass-selling Sun Herald newspaper criticising Rudd's Labour as negative, incoherent, incohesive and, the worst of all, uninspiring. The apparent malaise among a majority of Australia's 14 million voters for whom voting is compulsory comes despite the country being into its 22nd year of unbroken growth and with joblessness at a relatively low 5.7%. Australia under Labour steered through the 2008 collapse and the global financial crunch, buoyed by a China-led resource export boom that transformed it into one of the world's best economies.
As Prime Minister of Australia, my job is to protect your jobs, your pay and your basic conditions. And never ever underestimate my fighting spirit as your Prime Minister. I've been in tougher spots than this and have come from behind before.
Veteran broadcaster Sir David Frost has died at the age of 74 after a suspected heart attack while on board a cruise ship.
A family statement said he had been giving a speech aboard the Queen Elizabeth last night.
Sir David Frost's career spanned journalism, comedy writing and daytime television presenting, including the popular show The Frost Report. Internationally, he will be remembered for his revealing interviews with former US President Richard Nixon, which were also dramatized in the play and subsequent movie Frost Nixon. With reports of his demise being confirmed, messages of condolence and remembrance began pouring in. British Prime Minister David Cameron noted, quote, Sir David Cameron was an extraordinary man with charm, wit, talent, intelligence and warmth in equal measure. He made a huge impact on television and politics, unquote. Born in Kent, Sir David studied at Cambridge University, where he became secretary of the Footlights Club and met future comedy greats such as Peter Cook, Graham Chapman and John Bird. At the time of his demise, Sir David Frost was working with Al Jazeera, which he joined in 2006 when the network launched its English language service. At the network, he continued his work as a premier interviewer on the shows Frost Over the World and subsequently The Frost Interview. His often mimicked catchphrase, hello, good evening and welcome, is a greeting that will be sorely missed by his audience.
Moving on to sports news now.
Anuma Karunawansa of the Eastern Province set a new national record in the pole vault event at the National Games.
Now, Anuma recorded a height of 3.31 meters.
The National Games commenced today at the Jayatilaka Stadium in Navalapitiya.
Over 1,000 athletes are participating in the 30th International Games jointly organised by the Ministry of Sports and the Department of Sports Development. The opening ceremony of the Games was held today under the auspices of Prime Minister D.M. Jayaratne. Veteran Central Province athlete Major W.G. Aryasena and veteran table tennis player Deepika Rodrigo lit the torch of the Games. The Central Province emerged victorious in the men's 100-metre relay today with a time of 41.11 seconds. The Northwestern Province won the women's relay with a time of 47.66 seconds.
On to some rugby news now. Sri Lanka emerged in 4th place at the Asian Rugby Sevens today.
At Cup semi-finals of the Asian Rugby Sevens, the Sri Lankans were defeated by Hong Kong 29-12. Denied entry to the finals, the Sri Lankans faced off against South Korea in the 3rd place match. Following a tight contest, the scoreline read 15-10 in the South Koreans' favour at the final blow of the whistle, with Sri Lanka having to resign themselves to 4th place. Japan won the cup, defeating Hong Kong 14-10 in the finals. Kazakhstan won the bowl, defeating Singapore 15-0. Thailand suffered defeat at the hands of Malaysia in the plate final, 10-0.
Up next is Sports First special segment, The Bitter Truth.
A year ago, on The Bitter Truth, we discussed a financial crisis that could befall not only Sri Lanka cricket, but the economy of the nation as a whole through the intervention of the Somerset Company, which has Indian origins in the SLPL tournament. There isn't a single company that we have heard of that is involved in this. There are good companies in India as well. There are good companies now in Sri Lanka. We do not know who this is. There is another factor that was covered in the media. 2 Indian bookmakers had come to Sri Lanka under the guise of purchasing SLPL franchises. I have no problem whatsoever with the holding of the SLPL. If SLC is making money from it, I have no problems. But by chasing after money and not bringing the anti-corruption unit here, what they are doing is introducing bookmakers to our young cricketers. If they fix matches in the future and the finger is pointed at us, then all these people at Sri Lanka cricket must be held accountable. On the 2nd of September, Indian national Guru Prince Singh Mago confirmed these suspicions by revealing that plans were afoot to fix certain SLPL matches. A month later, the purity of the SLPL was called into question again when an investigative report on an Indian television channel reported that the CEO of the Somerset Company, Santi Bharma, had said that if he was provided with $740,000, he would be able to secure sponsorship of any of the SLPL franchises outside the approved procedure. Inquiries into this media report show that today even Sri Lanka cricket accepts the warning made on The Bitter Truth regarding the involvement of the Somerset Company in the SLPL. This media report published on the 28th of August reports that Sri Lanka cricket has decided to strictly consider whether it will continue its relationship with the Somerset Company, which is a managing partner of the SLPL. According to this media report, SLC Secretary Nishant Ranatunga notes the following in a letter addressed to Somerset CEO Sandeep Bharma. Quote, "You have not up-to-date furnished SLC with information requested for by us regarding the board of directors of SCV or confirmation from SCV that SLC is to deal with you in respect of the matter set out in your said email. SLC has additionally kept its calendar free in order to accommodate the SLPL tournament even in respect of the current South Africa tour. SLC was compelled to turn down South Africa's request for 3 test matches. While SLC was more than willing to do so in order for the SLPL to be staged, this was done at a great cost to SLC. Even as of date, you have admittedly failed to provide either the franchisees or SLC with a report of the central rights income of the 2012 SLPL tournament. This failure, as you yourself have previously admitted, was one of the factors in the franchisees' reluctance to continue to participate in the SLPL. It is clear that you have not been transparent with Sri Lanka cricket, and it is not what SLC expected from an entity it considered as its partner." Unquote. Is it not fate that cricket authorities who did the truth in the past have to face the truth themselves at present? Open for debate.
On to some football news now. Daniel Sturridge struck early to bring the capacity-filled Anfield crowd to their feet as Liverpool defeated Manchester United today to continue their 100% start to the English Premier League season, their best in 19 years.
Now the Reds began at a blistering pace and Sturridge stooped to a turn-in from a corner after just 4 minutes.
Liverpool now top the table with 9 points, while Chelsea are currently second with 7 points.
Well, that's a wrap from the News First team for tonight. Thank you very much for joining us. I'm Arundhati Mudanayaka.
And I'm Shane Silva. Take care and have a good weekend.
First at 9. Hotline 0114-896-896. www.newsfirst.lk. Feedback at newsfirst.lk.